documents that the Justice Department turned over to the committee about the investigations into Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. That said, Representative Ro Khanna tells us that we can quote him, less than 1% of those documents, are new. So much of what was released yesterday was already public, but Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie are right now, actually, as we're recording, assembling a press conference of people who say they survived abuse at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell on Capitol Hill as they rally support for a discharge petition that would force a vote on releasing more Epstein files on Capitol Hill. So they believe they can pressure. They need to get enough Republicans. If they get every Democrat, they need to get 6 Republicans, so 5, not including Massie, to support forcing that vote with the discharge petition. And they believe rallying and having House Republicans hear from people who say they survived abuse at the hands of Epstein and Maxwell will help compel members to join the cause and force that vote. So after House Republicans met with some of those people who say they were abused by Epstein and Maxwell just last night, here's what Representative Anna Paulina Luna, a Republican, had to say.
The biggest thing that stands out to me is the victims themselves have stated that this is a lot bigger than I think anyone anticipated. We are obviously going to be requesting the SARS reports from Treasury, and also too following up on that. There's some very rich and powerful people that need to go to jail. I think everyone's been frustrated as to why that hasn't happened before. But it is very much so a possibility that Jeffrey Epstein was an intelligence asset working for our adversaries. But also, too, I think the questions that we have is how much did our own government know about it?
Some of these people actually told NBC News just on Tuesday night, so last night, that they're compiling basically their own client list of people that they know were in the Epstein orbit and are implicated by all of this. And also, I think one of the interesting things happening now, Ryan, is some of these people who say they were abused are not the high-profile folks who have been on the scene for years sharing their experiences. Mm-hmm. Some of these people have not been in the press with the same level of exposure. And that's, I think, a pretty interesting development that Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie are bringing to the table right now.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting that Representative Luna, if you notice in the very end of the clip there, she said it's possible that Epstein was a foreign intelligence asset for one of our adversaries, mm-hmm. which seems directed at debunking the claim that he was an asset for Israel. Mm. Even though in the emails that we've gotten so far, one of his biggest interlocutors is Ehud Barak. Mm-hmm. Ehud Barak, not just a former prime minister, perhaps more importantly, Barak is a key player in the advancement of Israel's cyber technology over the last 20 decades. He sits on a bunch of those boards. He's involved with a bunch of these companies. And one of the most significant kind of, I think, developments historically in the last 10, 20 years is the growth of Israel's cyber warfare capacity, which changed its power balance with regard to Iran, Hezbollah, the pager attack, et cetera. Its ability to get inside the communications devices of its allies and adversaries is almost unrivaled. And Ehud Barak is a key part of that. And so Ehud Barak being a key friend of Jeffrey Epstein flies in the face of this claim that he was, but maybe he was also a foreign intelligence asset for an adversary. Like just because he was, let's say he was an asset for the U.S. Mm-hmm. and Israel, doesn't mean he wasn't also one for Russia or. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I think that's an important point. He could have been basically a freelancer that was a quote asset, however you want to define that, whether it was a formal arrangement or not. That was basically just selling his services to the highest bidder.
Decent number of and Israel has a lot of relationships with Russia as well, and Epstein. If you go through the files that are already public, there's a lot of Victor Vekselberg and all. There's a bunch of Russians that are in the mix constantly.
And you were referencing these emails that were posted by Distributed Denial of Secrets back in May of Ehud Barak, which is sort of ironic that Ehud Barak's inbox ends up on this WikiLeaks-like website. And actually, Ryan, this is I'm curious how you respond to this because you've covered things like Pegasus in the past. If you have Pegasus, you don't necessarily need to get people on a plane and to an island. It's like the shortcut. You can jump into their device, right?
It's easier,
and that's Israeli.
Yes, right, there's still, right, so Pegasus is this no-click penetration of your phone. Like basically they'll send you a link unfurls, and if you don't have your phone, say on Apple it's called lockdown mode, when the link unfurls, it sends the virus into the phone and they're in. Like you didn't have to be a John Podesta and like accidentally have your assistant put the password in to change the password and give it to the Russians or whoever.
Right.
Like it just boom, they've got you.
Right.
On the other hand, getting people to the island, like getting people to the island is helpful too. Like, or in his mansion that is completely filled with cameras.
And Barack and Epstein were going back and forth actually on whether or not Barack would bring his security to the island. That's one of the leaked emails, is him saying like, well, I'm trying to do it without the security.
Yeah, and also for people who are good at operational security, your phone should not actually have much on it at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
So even if they do manage to hack, they shouldn't be able to get much. And at least up until recently, if you turn your phone off and back on, it kicks Pegasus out.
Mm-hmm.
They may have fixed that. I don't know, but that's part of the security device that phones have. And every Pegasus hack is expensive. It's not like it's not like sending let's say they want to hack Emily over here. It's not like they can just constantly be sending her links. Every time they do it, for whatever reason, it's like pretty expensive to do it. So if you keep kicking them back out and there's nothing in the phone in the 6 hours they're in there for them to get, then they didn't get anything. So if you can get somebody in a compromised position on an island or mansion, go for that.
For now, the old-fashioned methods are still the best. I don't think you can take these shortcuts like modern kids. You get lazy.
Intel kids today, they just want to click and get you.
So
I got to put the time in.
Was Ehud Barak involved in Pegasus?
We can Google that one. He's got his.
But that's his business, basically, like that type.
He's got his fingers in like so many different intel.
So let's roll this clip.
He's co-founder of Paragon Solutions.
Oh, yes.
Which is Paragon is kind of a rival that the Trump administration is actually just lifting some obstacles to bring them in and use them to try to hack immigrants around the country, which is like not legal, but.
So they're a rival to NSO, which is in charge of Pegasus.
So yeah, so Ehud Barak, co-founder of Paragon.
There you go. All right,
definitely with Epstein. So.
Right. So that space in the industry. Let's roll this clip of Thomas Massey after the document dump yesterday. Massey is obviously working with Ro Khanna on the discharge position. Here's what he had to say.
It's like only 1% of what they possess. And 97% of it's already been released. I'm afraid this is going to be like Pam Bondi's binders. Is people are going to dig into it and say there's nothing new here. They haven't given us anything. They've given us the sleeves off their vest.
So he compared what happened yesterday, so those are documents from the Justice Department to the Oversight Committee, as potentially being like Pam Bondi's binders all over again. We can roll D3 as we keep talking here. This is Nancy Mace leaving that meeting with people who say they experienced that abuse in tears. So I think, Ryan, whatever.
But she later said that it triggered her, like hearing that, because within the last 2 years she was a victim of abuse.
Yeah. So I was going to say, whatever, we don't even need to get into, open up the Nancy Mace can of worms here, but we can just say that the stage is being set for a very, very high pressure campaign on House Speaker Mike Johnson. The White House is not wanting any Republicans to go along with this discharge petition pressure. So what does Marjorie Taylor Greene do? What does Nancy Mace do? What does Tim Burchett do? What happens in the future now, or actually like literally now, when these Republicans just came back from their August recess, definitely hearing from people who want information on the Epstein files in their own districts? what decision do they make here? Because just to be clear, all of this additional pushing for information, it's all in the hands of a select group of people at the Justice Department. There's absolutely nothing no one can do or anyone can do to make sure that 0.001% of the documents in existence that actually are potentially smoking gun documents. We've seen this with the JFK files. You can get 99% of the documents, and the 1% of the documents that's actually important will always stay behind closed doors. Now, that may or may not be the case with the JFK files. It may just be, and this is potentially the case with the Epstein files, that 50 years from now, we're in the situation with the Epstein files that we're in now with JFK files, or 60, 70 years from now, where we start getting maybe that last 1% of documents. But just to be clear, like, people can push for as much transparency, and they should push for as much transparency as they want, but nobody should be optimistic at all that the government is actually complying with these requests for the relevant information.
Maybe that's the one thing we'll get when Trump dies. Potentially,
or Bill Clinton, or both.
Bill Clinton, it's amazing that Democrats are still defending Bill Clinton and protecting him. Guys, he's been out of office for 25 years.
But it's the same.
Let him go.
But with the Kennedy files is such I think, instructive parallel here, because it's the same thing with this, in that people who might be implicated can die. And Mike Pompeo will still say there's a national security reason. There are people who will be in danger if the JFK files are released in 2020. He can still make that claim. But what they're actually protecting in all likelihood is allied, quote, allied intelligence services and countries. So, and the institution of the CIA itself, or whatever, and that doesn't go away just because people die. I suppose it gets easier to say that you've improved and reformed with time, but it's just we're not getting any. I think we're not getting any like smoking gun information in the near future, unfortunately.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full show, help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.